In the morning of the Nevada desert, something happened in late 2024 that the Pentagon tried hard to hide. A sharp, tailless, and quiet shape took off from a strip. It wasn't an F-22 or an F-35. It was the real flight of the Boeing F-47. For years, the Next Generation Air Dominance (NGAD) program was a mystery. It was a line item in the budget and some blurry pictures. In 2026, the silence was broken. The F-47 is no longer an idea, it is a $325 million reality. To understand how expensive it is, you could buy 3 F-35s for the price of 1 F-47, still have money left to build a high-end hospital. It is the expensive tactical fighter jet ever made. Why is it so expensive? In an era where drones are getting cheaper, why did the US spend much on a crude assassin? Because China changed the game. The J-20 Mighty Dragon was a wake-up call. The J-36 and J-50, China's 6th-generation prototypes, are a wall that the current US fleet can't climb. The F-47 is the solution. It is designed to survive the kill web of the South China Sea. Today, we are analyzing the F-47. We're looking at its adaptive heart, the ghost technology that makes traditional radar obsolete, and the economic math that makes it the capable and most controversial jet in history.
If you look at an F-47, the first thing you notice is what's missing. There are no stabilizers, no tails. Since the start of the jet age, we've used tails to keep planes stable. The F-15 has 2. The F-22 has 2. A tail is like a giant reflector for enemy radar. The Stealth Plus requirement. The J-20 is stealthy from the front. If it turns, its radar signature gets bigger. The F-47 is designed for broadband, all-aspect stealth. It doesn't just want to hide from high-frequency fire control radars, it wants to be invisible to the frequency search radars that China uses to see the F-35. By removing the tails, Boeing created a lifting body. The entire jet is a wing. It looks like a flattened diamond than a traditional fighter. How do you turn a plane with no tail? In 1990, it was impossible. In 2026, it's thanks to fluidic thrust vectoring and active flow control. The F-47 doesn't just use flaps, it uses jets of air diverted from the engine to blow over the wing surfaces, changing the air pressure and forcing the jet to turn. The assassin profile. The J-20 was built to be a sniper. The F-47 is an assassin. It is smaller than expected, the size of an F-22, but with a fuel capacity that shames the F-35. China expected the US to build a bomber-like fighter to get across the Pacific. Instead, the Air Force went with a penetrating counter-air design. It is sleek, it is fast, Mach 2.2 plus. It is designed to operate deep inside the enemy's bubbles of air defense.
A jet is only as good as its engine. The F-47 has something that looks like science fiction. For 50 years, jet engines have had a trade-off. You can have a high bypass engine, like a Boeing 747, which fuel efficient but slow. You can have a low bypass engine, like an F-16, which is incredibly fast but eats fuel like a monster. The F-47 doesn't choose. It uses the Pratt & Whitney XA-103 or the GE XA-102. These are adaptive cycle engines. These engines have a third stream of air. When the F-47 is cruising to a target 1,200 miles, the engine adjusts itself to act like a fuel-sipping airliner. The moment a J-20 is detected, the engine reconfigures its geometry in milliseconds to act like a high-performance interceptor. This is why the F-47 Assassin title fits. It has the range to fly from Guam to Taiwan without a tanker. The tanker gap is China's hope for winning a war. If the US doesn't need tankers, which are big, slow targets, China's long-stick PL-17 missiles have nothing to shoot at. Thermal management, the invisible heat. Modern infrared search and track, or IRST, sensors, like the ones on the J-20, find jets by looking for the heat of their engines. The XA-103 engine uses that third stream of air to wrap the hot engine core in a blanket of air. It effectively hides the heat signature. The F-47 isn't just invisible to radar, it's becoming invisible to heat-seeking sensors. This is a capability China did not expect to see matured until the 2030s. The fact that it's flying in 2026 has reset the clock.
We have to address the elephant in the room: $325 million per airframe. For that price, the American taxpayer expects the F-47 to be invincible. In modern warfare, no jet is invincible, so how does the Air Force justify this? The force multiplier argument. The F-47 is not a fighter in the sense. It is a quarterback. Each F-47 is designed to fly with a swarm of 2 to 5 collaborative combat aircraft, CCAs, drones that cost a fraction of the price. The F-47 stays silent and hidden. The drones fly ahead, soaking up enemy radar energy and carrying the missiles. The pilot in the F-47 sees the battlefield through the eyes of his drones, never turning on his own radar. When you buy one F-47, you aren't just buying a jet, you are buying the brain for an air force. The cost of failure. If the US relies on $100 million F-35s and loses a war in the Pacific because those jets couldn't reach the target or were seen by radars, the cost isn't just the planes, it's the end of American influence in Asia. The $325 million price tag is insurance. It is the price of ensuring that when the mighty Dragon J-20 looks into the sky, it sees nothing, until a missile from an F-47 it never detected ends the fight. When the official designation of F-47 was announced in 2025, Chinese state media, Global Times, was quick to dismiss it. They called it outdated, mocked the use of canards in some early renders, claiming China's J-36 had already surpassed the US design. If you look at the PLAF's actions, the story is different. The J-36 and J-50 rush. China has accelerated the testing of its 6th-gen platforms at a feverish pace. They are flying prototypes out of Chengdu that look remarkably like the NG-AD concepts. Why the rush? Because the J-20 was designed to counter the F-22. It does that well. The F-47 represents a generational leap that renders the J-20's radar systems and engagement tactics obsolete. The system of systems panic. China's anti-access area denial strategy relies on kill chains, a sequence of satellites, radars, and missiles. The F-47 is designed to break those chains. It carries powered microwave HPM weapons. It has EW suites that are 10 times more powerful than the F-35's. If an F-47 can fly into the heart of a bubble and blind the local radars, the entire Chinese defense strategy collapses. This is why they're calling it obsolete. It's the classic whistling past the graveyard. Let's look at a scenario in 2028. A conflict breaks out over the second island chain. China has deployed its J-20s to intercept B-21 bombers. They are confident. They have the range, they have the stealth. Then the J-20 pilots realize their data links are failing. Their radar screens are filling with noise. They can't find the bombers. Suddenly, a J-20 in the middle of the formation disappears. No warning, no missile launch alert, just a kinetic kill from an AIM-260 missile fired from an F-47 that was cruising 60 miles away completely passive, using a wingman drone as its sensor. The F-47 doesn't engage in a dogfight, it doesn't show off. It enters the zone, deletes the high-value targets, and leaves. This is the assassin doctrine. The J-20 was built to fight a war of sight. The F-47 was built to fight a war of information. In 2026, the person with the information wins, even if their jet costs $325 million.
There is a final subtle layer to this rivalry, the designation F-47. The original P-47 Thunderbolt was a beast of a machine in World War II. It was rugged, heavy, and capable of taking punishment than any other fighter. It was the workhorse that broke the back of the Luftwaffe. By naming this jet the F-47, the US Air Force is sending a message. This isn't a show jet like the F-22. This is a war ender. This F-47 is meant to end wars. It also happens to be a nod to the President of the United States. The final contract was signed under their administration. This is a structural fingerprint that China certainly didn't miss. The F-47 NGAD is a gamble. It is a bet that ultra-stealth and adaptive propulsion are worth more than quantity. The US is choosing quality over quantity with the F-47. China is building jets. The US is building jets like the F-47. If the F-47 delivers on its promise, it will be the feared weapon in the sky for the next 40 years. The F-47 will make the J-20 look like a relic of an era. The J-20 will be news. If the AI brain or the adaptive engine fails to live up to the hype, the US will have spent $20 billion on a fleet of 200 F-47 jets that can't be replaced if they are lost. My name is James. This has been a dive for the hidden muster. I'll leave you with this. In a world where we can now build drones for the price of a luxury car, does it still make sense to put a pilot inside a $325 million F-47 Assassin? Is the F-47 the last of its kind? Is it the most expensive gasp of the crewed fighter age? See you in the comments.